Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA, make prize pick, sportsbook, all that good stuff, all good content. And I post them to this subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. Anything you need, you can ask me questions about the slate, all that good stuff. Right here, ask me questions, anything you need. I'll have this link down below. And if you're looking to if you ever need to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on Discord right there. All right, so let's get to my lineups for tonight. I can close these. I'm done looking at rotations, so we can close that. Yeah, let's get to my lineup from tonight. We'll recap the last few days here. I made a little bit of money today just because of night slate, but yeah, if you're looking for more in-depth content, sportsbooks, prize picks, night slate, showdown, main slate, course for all that, videos for all that, I'll have my Discord link down below. But I'm not going to talk about too much about night slate, main slate, all that good stuff. Or I'll talk about main slate in a second. If you guys don't skip forward, I'll talk about my process today. It helps me get better. Hopefully, you know, it helps you guys. We're all just trying to get better at this game we love, right? Night slate went well. That was my lineup there. And then I'll recap the last few days for me because I haven't showed you guys. This was a couple days ago or 2 days ago. Keeps going. God damn it. Page 4 keeps going. Page 5 keeps going. Page 6 keeps going. So it's been a really, really good stretch for me the past couple of days. So good to keep that going here. But this is my main slate lineup. This is what I want to talk about here. So I wanted to play for the Memphis News. I really wanted to play for the Memphis News. I knew Memphis was going to be unowned, and I figured that a lot of them were going to be sitting today. But let's get into my core. So my core today was Scottie Pippen Jr. He nuked at low ownership. Bruce Brown was a core play for me. Obviously, he was chalk. He's basically a plug and play. Jalen Duren was a core play for me, only 35% owned. And then Grady Dick was a core play for me. He unfortunately did bust, but core smashed. Jalen Duren, only 35%, 60 bomb. I bubbled with Luka Doncic getting hurt, so that was fun. I believe cash line is 255. I think it's 260. I believe 261, maybe. Yeah, around there. So yeah, bubbled with Luka getting hurt in the fourth quarter was a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I wanted to play for Memphis News. So I want to show you guys a little trick that we had the Memphis lineup tonight before anyone else did, before Underdog had it, before beat writers had it. I was really hoping they weren't going to tweet out the Grizzlies lineup, but if you guys ever want to look for lineups, if Underdog's taking forever, sometimes NBA.com will have the lineups a bit before beat writers will have it, or Underdog will post that. All you do is you go to the game you want to look for the lineup, go to box score, just click box score, and it will show up exactly like this, but it won't have the stats, right? It won't have the stats. So if you ever need a lineup, I know I'm probably sharing an edge. It's not going to matter 99.9% of the time, but tonight situation where Memphis, they weren't posting a lineup, so that helped a little bit. But yeah, core did good. I bubbled with Luka getting hurt. Unfortunate. Gigi Jackson was one of the best plays in the slate. The Faders got lucky there. Trace Jackson Davis became one of the best value plays in the slate. The Faders got bailed out there. I mean, I talked about in Discord Isaiah Stewart, beef stew as a pivot off Chalk Simone. Some people in Discord did that. I did not. Simone had a really, really bad game. I figured I could eat Simone chalk because I was getting different with like the Memphis chalk, right? But yeah, but unfortunate to bubble, but it was a profitable day because of night slate. All right, let's get into this video. We got a 6-game slate here. Ton of news to keep an eye on. I will make updates on Reddit as always, but Phoenix at Boston, I mean, not much stands out to me on Phoenix. I think Devin Booker at 8.8K does seem a bit too cheap, but I think that's probably it for me. Who's messaging me? That's probably about it for me. Nurkic, with everyone healthy, his minutes are going to downtick a bit. Bradley Beal, I mean, he's playing big minutes. Just a really, really tough matchup up against Boston. I guess he's my second favorite play on this team. I think Kevin Durant's priced right. I'm not going to be going out of my way to play anyone on this team, but I think, you know, Booker does seem a bit too cheap. Moving on to Boston, so Kristaps Porzingis is out. Jaylen Brown is questionable. That's going to be really, really important news here. So if Jaylen Brown's out, there's definitely going to be a good amount to like here. I would assume they go with the starting lineup of Derek White, Drew Holiday, Sam Hauser, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. if that's the case, I mean, it's going to be a huge usage bump. There's a clear difference with Jaylen Brown out compared to like a Derek White or a Drew Holiday out, right? Jaylen Brown's their second highest usage player. So it's going to be a big difference compared to different scenarios, right? So with that being said, I mean, I think all three of the main guys would look pretty good here. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum. If I had to rank them point per dollar, it would be Jason Tatum, Derek White, Drew Holiday. Al Horford, he's going to play over 30 minutes. He's a stat sheet stuffer. He'd be very safe. Now, not as good of a play as he was here and here, priced up to 6.3K, but he's still a decent point per dollar play. Sam Hauser would stand out to me for value at 4.7K. In spots like this, he plays big minutes. He's a guy that's going to chuck when he's out there. Actually, a good point per minute guy. So he would stand out to me. Pritchard, if you think like for some reason the game blows out, I would say he's probably priced right. He's probably only going to play low 20s minutes in this scenario. He does have a ceiling though, would still be in play. I would just prefer Sam Hauser, right? I don't know if I go to anyone else though. If Jaylen Brown is in, I think Tatum still looks like a solid point per dollar spend up. I think Brown's fine, and then Derek White, Drew Holiday would probably be my least favorite of the main Boston. Al Horford's still in play with Porzingis out, but I'd basically be off of the value here. All right, moving on to the Clippers. So Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, they're both questionable. If they're both in, not much I like here going up against Chicago. You guys know James, Kawhi, Paul George, they all look similar. Paul George would be my least favorite just because he's close in price point to the other two. Kawhi probably my favorite just because he probably looks the best a bit point per dollar to me. Zubac, I mean, his minutes going up against Chicago, he should play around 30 minutes. I actually think he's solid at 5.3K. I don't know if I touch the value if they're both in. Now, if they're both out, that changes a lot. Then I absolutely love Paul George here at 8.3K. I really, really like Norm Powell at 5.2K. They're probably going to start like Terrence Mann at the point. He'd be a solid value. We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. They probably start like one of Amir Coffey or Norman Powell. They could do both, I guess. They could do what? They could do Terrence Mann at the point. Terrence Mann, Norm Powell, Paul George, Amir Coffey, Zubac. I guess they could do. So if they do something like that, I mean, yeah, Terrence Mann, solid value at the point. Amir Coffey firmly in play. I think Bones Highland would have to play a decent amount off the bench. If for some reason he does start, which I think is unlikely, but if he does, he's going to be one of the best value plays on the slate. I think it's very, very unlikely though. But he would have to play a lot more off the bench. He would be a pretty solid value. And yeah, Zubac would get a bump. He'd be even better. So there would be a ton to like here if those two guys are out. Moving on to Chicago now. Coby White, we're going to have to keep an eye on. If he is out, I would assume Torrey Craig moves into the starting lineup, or they could just go Andre Drummond, but I don't think that makes too much sense going up against the Clips. I would assume it would just be Torrey Craig. But if that's the case, I mean, matchup might change with the Clippers being out. I mean, Kawhi. But we'll see that. But it's going to be a usage bump to Vooch, going to be a usage bump to DeMar. It's going to be a huge usage bump to both guards here and Ayo Caruso. Torrey Craig, I think, would stand out as a solid value at 2.7K. Would like him quite a bit if he starts. Whatever a bid'em is, I don't even bid'em. On your Ralph bid'em. But they don't have bodies, man. Like they're running such a tight rotation right now. Andre Drummond might have to play a bit more at 4.9K. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying. Would be intrigued by him in GPPs. So that'd be a good amount to like here if Coby White's out. If he's in, then not much. I think the main guys are fine. Don't love the matchup here going up against Clippers. Ayo, Caruso both priced right. Probably wouldn't play Drummond. Torrey Craig be able to play for me. It wouldn't be too much here. And then I guess ranking them, it's kind of tough. I think DeMar Ayo, Vooch, Craig, Caruso, maybe. I don't know. You can flip them either way. They'd all be very, very solid plays. All right, moving on to the Sixers. Ton of blowout risk here going up against Milwaukee, but I like the spot a ton here for Tyrese Maxey. If nobody's going to play him at this price point, I mean, he's going to play close to 40 minutes. He's leading this team in usage. He's stuffing the stat sheet. It's just, can the Sixers keep this game competitive? I really don't know. But if nobody's going to play an 8.5K Tyrese Maxey in a good match because they're scared of blowout, I would absolutely love him in GPP. So I'm really, really high on Tyrese Maxey tomorrow. Tobias Harris is overpriced. Kelly Oubre, no thank you. Buddy Hield, no thank you. He went to the bench last game. Paul Reed should play high 20s minutes regardless if he starts or not. He's been coming off the bench. I actually do like him. He has nice eligibility as well, power forward center. We know he's a good point per minute guy. If he continues to get high 20s minutes. He is too cheap at 5.4K. So I do like Paul Reed for tournaments. I don't think a ton of people are going to be on him. And then Kyle Lowry is an okay value at 4.9K. Don't know if we're going to much else there. Move on to Milwaukee here. So Beasley is questionable. Pat Beverly is probable. If Beasley is out, I would assume, Pat Connaughton starts. It's going to be more run for like Pat Connaughton, Patrick Beverly, Jay Crowder. They would all be fine options. No priorities there. Bobby Portis might have to play a bit more, but yeah, I think it's mainly just Giannis, Damian Lillard for me going up against the Sixers. I think Giannis is always a good spend up no matter the slate. We possibly don't have like Luka on this slate, but I think the mid range possibly looks really, really good here. Like, where's Kyrie? Kyrie potentially with no Luka, I love. Tyrese Maxey, I really like. Potentially like a Paul George if both those guys sit. Fred VanVleet looks great. It's like, you're going to have to make some tough calls here. There's a lot of really, really good plays in the mid-range, but I think, Giannis is always going to be one of the best spend-ups on the slate, right? Definitely prefer him to Dame, and then, like I said, if Beasley's out, you can consider like a Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder, Pat Bev. All would be firmly in play for value at their price points. All would get a minutes bump as well. All right, moving on to Washington. So the big news here is Richaun Holmes, and it's very, very important news, and I don't think a ton of people realize this, but with Richaun Holmes out, they have to run a really, really tight rotation. So if Richaun Holmes is out, you're going to get Kyle Kuzma starting at the 5 at 8.2K. You're going to get huge minutes for Denny. Poole will come off the bench, probably play anywhere from like 25 to 35 minutes. Just depends on how he's playing. Tyus Jones is going to play huge minutes. Corey Kispert's going to play huge minutes. Coulibaly is going to play huge minutes. So even in a tough matchup here going up against Houston, if Richaun Holmes is out, I think there's a lot to like here. Kuzma, I like quite a bit at the 5. He gets a usage bump at the 5. Denny is very safe, but I'd rather just pay up for Kuzma at that point. Tyus Jones to play big minutes. He's a stat sheet stuffer. What was this game? 1 of 9, but he is a ceiling. Very high floor as well. Corey Kispert, I still think is a bit too cheap for the minutes he's getting. He's a very solid play at 5.4K. And then they're running such a tight rotation, I don't know if I go to much else. And then Coulibaly is fine for value, but I prefer like a Kispert. If Holmes is in, I would assume they just continue to start Kuzma at the 5 because Houston's going to start Jabari Smith at the 5. But Holmes will probably play decent minutes off the bench. He'd be in play in GPPs, but it would just hurt. It would hurt the rotation a bit. Like, they'd still be solid plays, like Kyle Kuzma at the 5. Tyus would still be firmly in play. Denny's fine. Kispert might become a bit riskier, Coulibaly, etc. But they'd be really solid plays if if Richaun Holmes is out. And I don't know how you don't absolutely love the Rockets tomorrow. Still no Whitmore, still no Sengun. I mean, I absolutely love Fred VanVleet at 8.3K. I think he's one of the best mid-range plays in the slate. Should play huge minutes, stuffing the stat sheet. He's going to have to do a lot more offensively with no Sengun. If you look prior, he just wasn't shooting the ball much. But with no Sengun, he is going to have to shoot the ball. So he's going to have a lot more offensive responsibilities, which is going to boost his ceiling. He already has a really high floor. So I think Fred looks phenomenal. I love him. Jalen Green at 7.7, he's going to play huge minutes. We know he's going to chuck when he's out there. I think he's a really solid play. Jabari Smith at the 5, I played him last night. I think he's a really solid play at 6.6K. Wish the minutes were a bit higher. I don't know what that was about. I think they played a decent amount of Jock Landale. Amen Thompson, I'm fine going right back. I know the minutes weren't great, but I think that's definitely a bit of an outlier here with Amen Thompson. I think normally he's going to play around 30 minutes in the starting lineup. We know he's a really good point per minute guy, so if people are going to fade Amen Thompson tomorrow because the last game, I am fine going right back there. Jock Landale, I mean, if you think he gets 26 minutes again, he would stand out as one of the better value plays in the slate, but I'm not entirely sure he does. And then Dillon Brooks, decent value at 4.5K. So there's a lot to like here with Houston. All right, good matchup here for the Knicks. Brunson, I mean, his minutes have been really, really bad. He was only on pace for like 32 minutes last game. I don't know if he's on some type of limit, but it's a really good spot here going up against Portland. So, like, I do like Jalen Brunson here up at the top. I haven't seen anything about a limit, though. I mean, that Josh Hart game was just unbelievable, but he's playing 45 minutes a game, so it does make him firmly in play, even at 7.3K. Definitely prefer him, probably my second favorite Nick on this team. Don't love too much else here. I guess OG Anunoby at 5.9K is solid, but he lost minutes due to the blowout. He's actually on pace for a decent amount, so I guess I like OG. Brunson's solid, and then Josh Hart's playable. Dante's fine, playing huge minutes, but yeah, I think the main Brunson, Hart, OG are the standout 3. Hartenstein, he's been on a limit. All right, moving on to Portland. So we'll keep an eye on the news. If we get a similar situation tonight where everyone's out that's out, is out again, then I'm going to be pretty high on Simons. I'm going to be high on Ayton. Ban, if he starts again, would be a solid play. He didn't play as many minutes as I thought he would, but would be a solid play. Scoot was on the limit. If they do start Scoot, though, at 5.2K, I do like Scoot. And then this grouping of like Kamara, Chris Murray, Thibault would all be playable values. And then if Grant's in, downgrade everyone, still be in play. I don't know if I get to the value. All right, moving on to Dallas. So I would expect Luka Doncic to be out for tomorrow. If he's out, I mean, love this team. Kyrie Irving looks phenomenal. Daniel Gafford's minutes have been up of late. I like him quite a bit. What else? Dante Exum played a bit more tonight. I would really like him. Josh Green will be a solid value. Derrick Jones Jr. will be a really good value. Tim Hardaway Jr. I would absolutely love. This team will just look phenomenal if Luka Doncic is out. And yeah, Exum played 25 minutes tonight. So that's good to see. Good to see. If Luka's in, it's just Luka up at the top for me. And then you can take darts on like Kyrie. And then I will mention Gafford did play a bit more tonight. I don't know if anyone got into foul trouble, though. I don't think so. So, yeah. All right, moving on to OKC. Good matchup here. You guys know I always like to target Daniel Gafford on the other side of games. So sign me up for some Chet Holmgren at 0% ownership. I like him quite a bit for tournaments. SGA is always a good spend up. We do have Jalen Williams back, but I'd rather just play Chet Holmgren. Giddey's going to lose minutes. Lou Dort, no thank you. Gordon Hayward, no thank you. So, yeah, that's going to be it for the slate. I hope you guys had a great night tonight, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.